Hello? Oh my god, OMG, it's Bible times with Big Jesus. Well, I'm not Big Jesus, I'm little guy today. I was like, let's be small today. And we are small today. We are small and we are delivering the readings. I'm just a little guy. What can I say? Okay, hold on. Let me turn this down just a little more. Hello, everyone. This was supposed to be yesterday, and then I took a nap and I woke up and I was like very, very dizzy. I was so very, very dizzy. I could not do a thing. La criatura. Yes. I could do nothing. I was so dizzy. It was rude. But now I'm not dizzy and I have woken up from a nap. And whatever they say, when a few people gather in Jesus' name, he will always be there. And they didn't specify it had to be exactly on a Sunday, so we up. I try to keep today as a little more like I guess chill or like calmer, you know, because it's like we're chilling, we're cool, we're just reading the Bible. Just reading the Bible. One-on-one wrestling match with an angel. Why would I? Who's doing all that? Who's doing all that? Not I, says the angel. Not I. They'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see her fight people. Where did you get that? When it is a Bible stream. Hold on, I'm looking for a book I can put on here. There we go. A book. Need to ask my commander to leave early. That's his anime girls that need to tell me about Jesus exactly. It's for your pillars of wellness or whatever they call it. There we go. I have a book now. It's your pillars of wellness. Tell him that you're going to. Well, don't tell him that. That's lying. I was gonna say, tell him you're going to service. This isn't really service. I'm just gonna do the readings, and then I'm gonna like tell you my interpretation, and then hear everybody else's interpretation, and then we discuss, because that is what you do. You discuss. That's Bible discussion. It's study. And then we will just talk about our day, and then we will do a little bit of a prayer together. We'll do like the Our Father, the Hail Mary. We'll go on our ways and enjoy our week with the Lord, you know? Yeah, now. But yes, I have a book now. Oh my god, wait, oh goodness, wait. Look. We're reading together. You get it now. We're in it. Here, I'll shift the book over so you can see a little better. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. We're reading together, guys. Reading together for my big red book. It's the spiritual readiness of holistic health and fitness. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna open this up. So right now I am using Catholic.org for the daily readings for Sunday, July 12th, 2026. Technically, there should be one for today as well, because there's obviously daily masses. But just because we missed Sunday, we'll do Sundays and we'll do Mondays. You get a 2-for-1 special today. Hope you guys are excited to do it. A 2-for-1 special. Alright, hold on. What was the whole, at beginning of Catholic. I always have to specify Catholic. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. I remember. I remember that now. Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, or I guess gentlemen, I don't know. I always like to say that you are all men, but soon you will be, godly women. Godly women of Christ. You know? Soon. Huh? Oh, May's just sending me reels. I was like, oh, that was really loud. Anyway. Alrighty. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the communion of the Holy Spirit be with you all, and with your spirit. We have the readings for Sunday, July 12th, 2026, which will be Isaiah 55, 10, and 11. The readings 2, which is Romans 8, 18 through 23, and the Gospel, which is from the book of Matthew 13, 1 through 23. So the first reading, reading 1, Isaiah 55, 10, and 11. For as the rain and the snow come down from the sky and do not return before having watered the earth, fertilizing it, and making it germinate to provide seed for the sower and food to eat, so it is with the word that goes from my mouth. It will not return to me unfulfilled, or before having carried out my good pleasure and having achieved what it was sent to do. Let me read that again. Let me get my interpret. I'm a woman. So I can say ladies and gentlemen. This is great, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read this again. For as the rain and snow come down from the sky and do not return before having watered the earth, so is with the word that goes from my mouth. Will not return to me unfulfilled, or having been carried out by my good pleasure and having achieved what it was sent to do. My interpretation of this one, right? Okay. My interpretation of reading one from yesterday's Mass, it feels like every word spoken by the Lord has a purpose. Every little story, every little prayer, every little word said by the Lord and in the name of the Lord has a purpose. And it doesn't just leave just because someone, refuses it. You can't just be like, oh, I'll pray for you, like, God bless you, and they're just like, no. And then suddenly your prayer's invalid. It doesn't work like that. You can pray for those even if they reject it, The word of the Lord isn't done until it's satisfied its purpose. Just kind of like how rain and snow come down, and they water the plants, they water the earth, they go through the whole little water cycle. So I guess there's like a prayer cycle, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense? It's like good deeds and good prayers will always fulfill their purpose and pass on and go back to the people that made them. Yeah? I think that makes sense. Maybe I'm talking about it in a very convoluted way, but the reading is very clear, I think. Okay, for some reason they messed up how this looks, so reading 2 is all the way at the bottom. So reading 2 is from Romans 8, 18 through 23. In my estimation, all that we suffer in the present time is nothing in comparison with the glory which is destined to be disclosed for us. For the whole creation is waiting with eagerness for the children of God to be revealed. It was not for its own purposes that creation had frustration imposed on it, but for the purposes of him who imposed it, with the intention that the whole creation itself might be freed from its slavery to corruption and brought into the same glorious freedom as the children of God. We are well aware that our whole creation, until this time, has been groaning in labor pains. And not only that, we too, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we are groaning inside ourselves, waiting with eagerness for our bodies to be set free. This one's all just about suffering, really. It's about suffering until glory. God not only created us with the option, he gave us options. God gave us options. This is me trying to interpret this best I can. God, because I can understand it, but putting it in words is where I'm like, oh, here's where my interpretation starts to falter. For the whole creation is waiting with eagerness for the children of God to be revealed. All of creation has the option, the ability to be a child of God. It's very easy. well, it's not easy. That's the whole point of this. It's like, it's suffering. That living life is suffering for the glory that comes to us in the afterlife. It's like a reward. It's like a reward. It's kind of like the idea that suffering begots joy. So, like, joy doesn't really mean much if there's no strife to compare it to. Joy just feels kind of empty if there's no strife to work through to earn said joy. And that's what this is about. Even, like, whether you're a quote-unquote child of God or not, you are still feeling that same sort of suffering in comparison to your joy. And eventually, even those who are, devoted, we too who have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we are groaning inside ourselves, waiting for the eagerness for our bodies to be set free. Joy begots strife, and strife begots joy. One does not feel good without the other. Strife without joy is meaningless, and joy without strife is purposeless. Kind of like you need the dark to enjoy the light. Exactly, yeah. That is plain and simple. Exactly. It's kind of like if you go through a whole life of suffering and then there's nothing at the end of it, that just kind of feels counterproductive, you know? So it's like, I think if we have, I need May to stop sending me reels. I'm easily distracted. I think when you have joy, little joys, and the joy of, I guess, the afterlife and everything that heaven has promised you, after a life of suffering, but also those little joys of just being good and walking in the light, even if you stumble, it feels much more rewarding. So yeah, that's my interpretation. You guys are also always free to post your own interpretations after you hear the readings, because I am always open-minded to hearing them. I am open-minded. Okay. Scrolling back up to the gospel. The gospel for yesterday was the book of Matthew, 13:1 through 23. That same day, Jesus left the house and sat by the lakeside. But such large crowds gathered round him that he got into a boat and sat there. The people all stood on the shore, and he told them many things in parables. He said, "Listen, a sower went out to sow. As he sowed, some seeds fell on the edge of the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell on patches of rock where they found little soil and sprang up at once, because there was no depth of the earth. But as soon as the sun came up, they were scorched, and not having any roots, they withered away. Others fell among the thorns, and thorns grew up and choked them. Others fell on rich soil and produced their crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Anyone who has ears should listen." Then the disciple went up and asked him, "Why do you talk to them in parables?" In answer, he said, "Because to you is granted to understand the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not granted. Anyone who has will be given more. Anyone who has will be given more, and will have more than enough. But anyone who is not will be deprived of even what he has. The reason I talk to them in parables is that they look without seeing and listen without hearing or understanding. So in their case, what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah is being fulfilled. Listen and listen, but never understand. Look and look, but never perceive. This people's heart has grown coarse, their ears dulled, and they have shut their eyes tight to avoid using their eyes to see, their ears to hear, their heart to understand, changing their ways and being healed by me. But blessed are your eyes because they see, your ears because they hear. In truth, I tell you, many prophets and upright people long to see what you see, and never saw it, to hear what you hear, and never heard it. So pay attention to this parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom without understanding, the evil one comes and carries off what was sown in his heart. This is the seed sown on the edge of the path. The seed sown on patches of rock is someone who hears the word and welcomes it at once with joy. But such a person has no root deep down and does not last. Should some trial come or some persecution on account of the word, at once he falls away. The seed sown in thorns is someone who hears the word, but the worry of the world and the lure of riches choke the word, and so it produces nothing. And the seed sown in rich soil is someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who yields a harvest and produces now 100-fold, now 60, now 30. This one's actually very straightforward. The Gospels are usually fairly straightforward, especially when it is, Jesus telling a story. He's telling the parable of the sower, which is the parable that says a sower went to sow some seeds, a bunch fell on the way, and then the ones that he planted were the ones that survived, while the other ones all had some form of issues. Like the ones on the edge of the path, I guess I would say they represent, because he explained it, the like the ones who strayed from the path, the ones who could have heard it, but something turned them away from the word way too early, and they were just taken away from the path, and it was hard for them to come back from it. There was one he didn't mention, the ones that like fell on the soil with nice soil, but not very deep, no roots. The path full of rocks, where they hear it, they feel like they understand it, but the second some sort of like conflict or hardship comes up when it comes to their religion, it withers up, it dies, it's done. And it's easy, it's hard to come back from that. These are a lot of situations that are hard to come back from unless you make an active effort to come back to it, The one from the thorns is, I would say, just like a perfect representation of religious persecution. Even if, and it doesn't even have to apply to Catholicism at that point. It really is just people want to practice their religion. They are persecuted for practicing their religion. They feel scared to practice their religion with their whole heart. It's happened to so many religions over the course of mankind, that I feel like it's a very good representation of it. And then, of course, the ones who made it to the nice, rich soil where they were supposed to be planted are the ones who heard it, understood it, and lived through it each and every day despite the hardships. It's a very straightforward parable. Though Jesus does talk about that one part. The one part where he to you was granted to understand the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not granted. Those people who dedicate, like the priests and the nuns and the bishops and all the people that dedicate their lives to spreading whatever, like the gospel and the word of the Lord. Obviously they get it. Knock on wood, obviously they get it. It's their lives. But for the common people, just your average, everyday Jane and John Doe, it's not like it's their entire lives, especially with the way that the world changes. It's not your entire life to dedicate to the Lord. There's so much that you have to do just to survive, so you can dedicate even a fraction of your time to the Lord. And that's why I feel like that's a really strong statement, because to you it is granted to understand the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not granted. It's something that has to be a constant active effort. That's how I interpret it anyway. And we can also do today's readings. The readings for July 13th, 2026, which is reading 1, Isaiah 1:10 through 17. I think that's... And then it says the gospel. It doesn't give us our second reading. Where's our second reading? Oh, I guess because it's not a Sunday mass. I usually go on Sundays. Funny enough, I actually used to go on Saturdays. I used to go on Saturdays because my church would ride a mass on. I really enjoy the way... Oh, thank you. I sometimes have a hard time, I guess, understanding. Like, I'll understand something, but putting it to words is really difficult for me, especially if I don't have something pre-written out. So I do my best to try and interpret it in a way, like out loud, in a way that makes sense to me and hopefully makes sense to others. But yeah, I used to go to mass on Saturdays because my church would offer Catholic on Saturdays and Protestant on Sundays. I guess I don't know why. I don't know the difference. And then I went to a different church, and now they provide mass every day. Less crying babies. No, now it's like out here it's difficult. Where I'm at, it's a little difficult because I only just found the church. Literally, like this afternoon, I finally saw where you're supposed to enter. I was like, "Is the church closed down? This thing looks like busted." And then I found the entrance to the church, so I'll be able to go again on Sunday. Yay! But it's been very difficult, especially because the areas I keep getting stationed are mostly Baptist. They're mostly Baptist, and I'm like, and maybe it's just because I'm a little autistic. I see that it's like, well, it's Catholic adjacent, but it's not the thing. And what if they do something different, and I look like Boo Boo the Fool at the mass, and then I'm too scared to go back. So I have to make sure it's exactly a Catholic mass, and then the ones that they offer on base back home are like at 8 a.m. and that's just a me. That's a personal failing of me not being able to wake up before 8 a.m. on a non-work day. But that's why I started doing these. I was like, maybe these will make me feel better. So I did like rosary readings and then like these little Bible studies. It's fun. I think it's actually more fitting now that I have the whole angel thing going on. Oh, but yes, I have Monday's readings up. So it is Isaiah 1:10 through 17, and the Gospel, which is Matthew 10:34 through 11:1. Wow. Really. Okay, reading 1, Isaiah 1:10 through 17. Hear what Yahweh says, you rulers of Sodom. Listen to what our God teaches you, people of Gomorrah. This is a part of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Jesus. What are your endless sacrifices to me, says Yahweh? I am sick of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of calves. I take no pleasure in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. When you come and present yourselves before me, who has asked you to trample through my courts? Bring no more futile cereal offerings. The smoke from them fills me with disgust. New moons, Sabbaths, assemblies, I cannot endure solemnity combined with guilt. Your new moons and your meetings I utterly detest. To me they are a burden I am tired of bearing. When you stretch out your hands, I turn my eyes away. You may multiply your prayers, I shall not be listening. Your hands are covered in blood. Wash, make yourself clean. Take your wrongdoing out of my sight. Cease doing evil. Learn to do good, search for justice, discipline the violent, be just to the orphan, plead for the widow. So this is just a segment of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Where I'm pretty me when I have to remind myself. So Yahweh is just one of the proper names of God in the Old Testament. Also, Jehovah, which is why they call them like Jehovah Witnesses. But this is just basically the presenting to the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, like, hey, we can tell that your prayers are empty and they mean nothing. You continue to do bad things, despite the fact that you prostrate yourself and you make your offerings and you come and you pray, and you are still saddled with so much guilt and bad deeds, but you pretend to be good. I don't like that. Learn to do the opposite of that and wash yourself clean of your sin before trying again. And I feel like this is a little topical, because I've noticed that there's a lot of performative religion, and there's a lot of performative, like, Christianity and Catholicism. I've noticed that, where it's like, people will go to church, they'll pray, they'll do all their proper rites, they'll do everything, right? And then they don't practice what they preach, I guess. They don't practice what they preach. They are still unkind to others. They still choose to be unkind to others and choose to do bad things. It's like the classic story of like the abusive mom who still goes to church and prays away her sin, but she still continues to do so. Or, what's another example? I guess like, you know, priests in the community that do awful things that shall not be named for YouTube's sake, but a lot of awful things. Yes. And then they wonder, exactly. And then they seem to wonder, like, why is it that bad things happen? You know, why does the bad things happen to me? But you are consistently doing bad and then prostrating yourself without... You are asking for forgiveness without making change. That's what's happening. Which is why the people who are, like, saddled with, everything, like, that goes on in their lives, and they still make an effort, and the few times they can do, even if it's not consistent, that they still make an effort the few times they can do to go to confession, to try and make better changes for the world, to, you know, do things like soup kitchens, donating to charity, just being kind to others. I think that's what I believe. I believe in just being kind to others. Even those who have wronged you, at some point, you really just gotta let it go and hope that they get better. Especially if you don't really have to, like, interact with them. It's easier. But if you have to see them on a daily basis, it's harder, you know? It just makes sense. To me, anyway, it makes sense that at some point you just have to learn that you can just be kind. You can be kind, and you can be good to others, even if they're not good to you. It's the classic, like, Jesus talking about turning the other cheek. I don't have to endure it, but that doesn't mean I have to be, like, hateful towards you forever. That's how I think about it anyway. Yeah. What a reading on a Monday. And then the Gospel from Matthew 10:34 through 11:1. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. It is not peace I have come to bring, but a sword. For I have come to set son against father, daughter against mother, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. A person's enemies will be the members of his own household. No one who prefers father or mother to me is worthy of me. No one who prefers son or daughter to me is worthy of me. Anyone who does not take his cross and follow in my footsteps is not worthy of me. Anyone who finds his life will lose it. Anyone who loses his life for my sake will find it. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me, and anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Anyone who welcomes a prophet because he is a prophet will have a prophet's reward, and anyone who welcomes an upright person because he is upright will have the reward of an upright person. If anyone gives so much as a cup of cold water to one of these little ones because he is a disciple, then in truth I will tell you, he will most certainly not go without his reward. When Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he moved on from there to teach and preach in their towns. I gotta, let me. This is one of those, I think this is one of those tales where Jesus was talking to his disciples before he sent them out, like after, I think this is after his crucifixion, where he sent his disciples out to go and, you know, spread the word of the Lord. That's where many of these books come from. If I remember correctly, anyway, don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. But I think it's just, my interpretation is, what I learned at boating school is, me when I'm on the spot, I think line 40 really sells the whole thing. It's the easiest way to explain it. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me, and anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. It's just, if you genuinely welcome the word of the Lord into your heart, even, like, you welcome, like, the Lord into your life. That's it. You just genuinely, it's just a lesson in saying genuinely accept the Lord's, like, word into your heart. Easy. Easy. Well, not easy. I mean, it's difficult for some people. Because, like, the story of, you know, doubting Peter, where he was like, I, unless I can like stick my finger in the crucifixion holes. I'm not gonna believe that this isn't just some imposter. And then he walks up. Uh-oh. Chat disconnected. Why chat disconnected? Oh, okay, we're back. I don't know why my chat disconnected for a second. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, it's like the story of Doubting Peter, where it's like he was like, I'm not gonna believe it's not some imposter without, you know, touching the holes in his hands from the crucifixion. And then Jesus pulls up and he's like, hey, here are my hands. Here's where they stabbed me in my side. Is that good enough? And then Peter just prostrates himself and he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he's just like, that's all right, but just know, the ones who believe in me without having to see are the ones who get it. The ones who get it, the ones who don't, well, they'll eventually get it, you know. Jesus doesn't intentionally exclude people. The Lord is for everyone. Always remember that, guys. The Lord is for everyone. As long as you genuinely make the effort to accept him. Easy. I think it's easy. I think it's very, I guess, explanatory, self-explanatory, you know? You know. There we go. I found the thing, the prayer of the day. I clicked on something that said prayers, and it gave me an AI priest that said, you want to pray with somebody? Chat with Father James today. Weird. Actually, that was Thomas. Peter down about the 9 Christ 3 times after crucifixion. Yes, I understand. I'm glad you guys understand. Listen, there's like 5 people named Peter. There's a bunch of Peters and a bunch of Pauls and a bunch of, like, a few Jameses, you know. It's difficult. But yes, does anybody have any of their own interpretations of the readings that we went over today? You got to get 2 days worth of readings because I slept in yesterday because I was feeling icky. AI priest is ironically the most soulless thing possible. No, really. I'm like, why? Why don't, on prayers, why don't you just, like, make a little submission? What I would do is be like, let's make a little submission box, and people could be like, can you pray for me for this? And then you can click on, like, something that says, like, hey, do you want to pray for someone today? Here you go. And then you just click on it, you get a random submission. Like, I feel like that's easier to do than trying to make some whole AI priest prayer bot. That's weird. That's strange. That's odd. But whatever. I found our daily prayer, so I'm trying to stop yawning. But yeah. The readings for yesterday and today, fairly straightforward. Though a lot of the times the readings are pretty straightforward. It's always just like, accept God in your heart. There will be many trials and many tribulations, but if you accept God in your heart, even when the going gets tough, he'll be there. And things will be good in the end. I actually kind of like this setup. I like this little setup we got going on here. Especially because I got my big old encyclical on A before making the AI priest bot. I have to look at this now. Pope opinion on AI. Encyclical letter of His Holiness Pope Leo the 14th on safeguarding the human person in time of artificial intelligence. Oh wow, this is a really long. This is a chapter 5. 5 chapters. And an introduction and a conclusion. Holy moly. Well, I know what we're reading next Bible study. I'm going to bookmark that. I know what we're reading next Bible study. Good Lord. He didn't... The Pope didn't like it so much, he made an essay. He made a dissertation. Encyclical. Incredible. That's just more proof, ladies and gentlemen, that, you know, you don't need AI. Imagine using AI to summarize the Bible when the Bible readings took us less than 30 minutes to get through 2 days worth. I call it a skill issue. Seek God. Seek Christ. Okay. Well, if there are no more little interpretations on the readings we did today, I will do our little conclusion prayer of the day. Today's prayer of the day for Monday, July 13th is the prayer to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. O most holy heart of Jesus, fountain of every blessing, I adore you, I love you, and with lively sorrow for my sins, offer you this poor heart of mine. Make me humble, patient, pure, and wholly obedient to your will. Grant, good Jesus, that I may live in you and for you. Protect me in the midst of danger. Comfort me in my afflictions. Give me health of body, assistance in my temporal needs, your blessings on all that I do, and the grace of a holy death. Amen. Congratulations, guys. If this was your first Bible study, you've done it. That's it. Congratulations. Hooray. And they're like, hooray! I did my Bible study! Yay! Average BriarBud reaction to Bible study. Make the book a little larger for next time. But yeah, next time we'll read that whole encyclical together, cause that's wow. I did not realize he put out a big old essay about his views on AI. Wow. I have to make my schedule for the rest of the week. Actually, let me put the book down. Put the book down. It was really nice. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed. But I will make my schedule for the upcoming week. If you guys aren't in the Discord server, by the way, I don't know if it's in the description, but you should join the Discord server. We don't really talk about religion that much in there, unless it's like before or after a Bible study. But there's no real rules on religion talk in there, as long as it's not like inflammatory, like you're not like bashing other people's religions. So it's like you can still talk about it. Well, that's good. It's encouraged. It's allowed. It's encouraged. Now, when people gather in the name of Christ, he will always be present. I always say that. But yeah, I had to make my schedule for the week and figure out what kind of games I want to play this week. And I had to put that we're doing the encyclical on, I think, next Sunday, I guess. I'm glad you guys enjoyed today's Bible study. It felt nice. It was fun to do. And now I'm gonna go run and make my schedule. See you guys. Remember, walk in Christ and pray for each other. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Stay super holy, my friends. Stay super holy.